Welcome to the new episode of the Cyber Threats Radar podcast. Today we're launching a really critical deep dive. We're talking about a perimeter, well, one you might not even realize is basically gone now.
Right, the web browser itself.
Exactly. The way we work, it's all shifted, hasn't it? It's all SaaS tools, web apps.
Everything happens in the browser. That's where the work gets done.
Which means the browser, where your identity lives, where all that data flows, that's become the main target.
And often the least governed part of the whole enterprise stack, unfortunately.
Yeah, so we really need to unpack this. It's a new security imperative because the attacks themselves, they've fundamentally changed.
And that imperative, it's really driven by time. Or, well, the lack of time.
How so?
Just look at the data we've been tracking, the speed of these exploits hitting in the wild. It's incredible. When we talk about risk exposure now, the window for potential compromise, we measure that in hours, not days.
Hours? That's fast.
Extremely fast. Think about 2025. By mid-September, Google had already pushed its 6th emergency Chrome patch for a 0-day.
A 0-day being actively exploited.
Actively exploited in the wild, yes. That kind of velocity, it sends a clear message. If your identity, your critical enterprise data, if it all lives in the browser,
then your security has to live there, too.
Absolutely. Enterprise browser security, EBS, it's just not optional anymore.
Okay, let's dig into that core shift then. For years, decades, companies spent a ton on, network walls, endpoint controls.
The traditional defenses,
Yep.
firewalls, AV, the works.
Right, but now those defenses are apparently being bypassed.
Yeah.
Why? Why aren't those traditional controls enough against these modern browser threats?
Well, it really boils down to what the attackers are actually after. Their ultimate target has shifted.
Away from what?
Away from things like brute forcing static passwords. That's noisy. It's kind of tedious for them.
Huh.
Now they're focusing on quietly stealing session tokens. Cookies.
Ah, the session cookies.
Exactly. Why bother trying to log in, which might trigger alerts, when you can just grab a stolen cookie? That cookie grants you immediate validated access. You look just like the already logged in user.
So no login page needed.
No login page, and critically, no MFA prompt is required at that point.
Because you're already in.
You're already authenticated in that session. It's a silent account takeover, an ATO.
But hang on, if companies have MFA rolled out everywhere, how are these stolen cookies still useful? Doesn't MFA protect the login?
That's the absolute core vulnerability being exploited right now, and at massive scale. MFA protects the initial login, the authentication step,
Okay.
but the session cookie, that's what validates your active session after you've already logged in and passed MFA.
I see. So if an attacker gets that cookie.
If they steal it and replay it from their machine, they completely bypass the MFA challenge.
Wow.
And the scale is just staggering. Our sources found nearly 94 billion stolen browser cookies circulating.
Billion. 94 billion.
Yes, on dark web markets, Telegram channels, that's a 74% jump year over year. It's terrifying.
And some of those are still active.
A meaningful fraction, yes. Still active, still valid, ready to be used to take over enterprise SaaS accounts. It's fueling a huge underground ATO economy.
And that ties right into the whole mess of SaaS and oath sprawl, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
We all love the convenience, click connect app, link this tool to that tool.
Makes workflow smoother, sure.
But it creates this hidden API supply chain risk. It totally bypasses the traditional firewall setup.
Exactly right. When an attacker compromises an integrations token that Oath grant you approved,
Yeah.
they don't just get access to maybe one specific function. They inherit the exact same level of API access that the business granted to that application in the first place.
Which could be huge.
Often, it grants far more access than the actual human user account could ever perform manually through the interface.
It's this supply chain fallout, and it lives entirely outside the old network gateway model.
Okay, so combine that massive ATO economy fueled by stolen cookies with the 0-day speed you mentioned earlier.
And you see why patch latency becomes such a killer. Explain that term, patch latency.
It's simply the time gap. The gap between, say, Google dropping an emergency Chrome fix
Right.
and your security team actually getting that update pushed out and enforced on every single machine across the whole company.
And when the exploit is already active.
Every hour of that latency, that delay, is a measurable, completely unnecessary security risk, a window for attackers.
Okay, so identity, active sessions, those are the targets. Where are attackers initiating these attacks? Inside the browser itself.
Primarily, yes. We need to look at the supply chain inside the browser. And a huge part of that is browser extensions.
Ah, extensions. The Wild West sometimes.
It can be. They're a massive shadow IT problem and definitely a core supply chain risk.
Yeah.
Think about it. They often run with really powerful, broad permissions. They usually update silently in the background,
And they sneak into the corporate environment how?
often through personal profiles. People use Chrome Sync, they log into their personal Google account on a work machine, and boom, all their personal extensions come along for the ride. That personal use bleeds right into corporate work.
And we've seen actual attacks leverage
Oh,
this.
absolutely. There was a coordinated campaign early 2025. Attackers backdoored several popular Chrome extensions. They used developer phishing tactics, malicious OAuth apps targeting the extension developers themselves.
So they compromise the source.
Exactly. And through those compromised extensions, they weren't just grabbing passwords. They stole API keys, session cookies, auth tokens. They even hid extensions published by legitimate security vendors. It was a wake-up call.
Wow. And that risk isn't just about third-party extensions, right? It's also the code running on the websites we visit daily.
Precisely. The client-side code, the JavaScript running in your browser on any given website, that's increasingly become attacker-controlled territory.
You mean like those match card attacks? Web skimming.
That's a perfect example. Magecart-style attacks are still rampant. They inject malicious JavaScript directly into, say, online checkout flows on thousands of sites.
Right on the payment page.
Right on the payment page. And it scrapes your payment details, your card number, in real time as you type it. It siphons it off.
So even basic controls aren't always enough.
Things like content security policy, CSP,
Yeah.
sub-resource integrity, SRI, they're necessary hygiene. Absolutely, you should have them. But against the really sophisticated attacks, the advanced DOM injections, the sneaky ways they try to exfiltrate data using hidden iframes or WebSockets, those basic controls often fall short.
It's kind of frustrating, isn't it? Feels like whack-a-mole. We secure the network, they move to the endpoint. We secure the endpoint, they move right into the browser, closer to the user and the data.
It's a constant evolution. Attackers go where the defenses are weakest and the payoff is highest. Right now, that's the browser.
So given this reality, this new perimeter, what does a good, robust enterprise browser security program actually look like? An EBS program.
Okay.
Based on our work helping organizations here at Spin.AI, we've kind of formalized this into 6 critical pillars. Let's maybe start with the identity and access control side.
Sounds good. So pillar 1 is all about robust extension governance,
Meaning?
meaning you need continuous inventory. You have to know what extensions are running, not just on corporate managed profiles, but on every profile, personal ones included, if they touch corporate data.
Okay, visibility first.
Then you need to shift your policy. Move away from allow everything unless it's known bad. That doesn't work anymore. You need a risk-based, allow by exception policy. Only permit extensions that are vetted and necessary.
And what about updates? Extensions update all the time.
That's critical. We need to watch for permission creep. That's when an extension you already approved gets a silent update. And suddenly that update demands new, broader permissions, like access to your camera or your microphone or your local files.
Things it didn't need before.
Exactly. Your system needs to automatically flag that, maybe block the update, or quarantine the extension until it's reviewed. And obviously, auto-block and remove known bad extensions immediately.
Got it. Okay, pillar 2.
Pillar 2 is session hardening. This gets back to making those stolen cookies useless.
How do we do that?
The key emerging technology here is device-bound session credentials, or DBSC.
DBSC, okay.
Instead of the cookie just being a simple key that anyone who steals it can use, DBSC cryptographically ties that session validation credential specifically to the hardware, to the device it was first issued on.
So if I steal your cookie and try to use it on my laptop.
It fails the device check. The session won't validate. It renders cookie theft much, much harder to exploit.
Smart. What else for session hardening?
Pair DBSC with shorter session lifetimes generally. Force reauthentication more often, especially for sensitive actions or privilege escalation. And really importantly, push hard for phishing-resistant authenticators like passkeys. Move away from legacy MFA factors wherever you can.
Makes sense. That covers identity and sessions. Pillar 3.
Pillar 3 tackles OAuth hygiene. Remember that sauce sprawl and risky integrations problem?
Yeah, the tools connecting to tools.
This pillar addresses that directly. First, you must enumerate, list out, and understand every single third-party sauce grant you have active in your environment.
Know what's connected to what.
Then, enforce least privilege scopes. Don't give an app access to read all emails if it only needs to read calendar entries. You also need aggressive alerting. Watch for unusual behavior like an app suddenly trying to export massive amounts of data.
Okay.
And finally, automate the cleanup. Automatically revoke OAuth tokens that are stale, haven't been used in months, or look suspicious.
Right, so those first three pillars really focus on closing that identity theft gap: extensions, sessions,
Yeah,
OETH grants.
exactly. Protecting the credentials and the access pathways.
Okay, now let's shift to the other side: code enforcement, readiness. The last three pillars. Pillar 4 is client-side defense.
Right. This is about tackling that active code injection problem we discussed, like the match card attacks.
So defending against malicious JavaScript running on websites.
Precisely. This requires more than just static policies like CSP. It needs dynamic monitoring. You need to watch third-party scripts loaded by websites for any drift, any unexpected changes in their code that you didn't approve.
So monitoring the supply chain of scripts.
Yes, and actively watching for specific indicators of attack, signs of DOM injection, those hidden iframes trying to load malicious content, and any attempts at rogue data exfiltration, especially using things like WebSockets, which can be hard to detect.
Got it. Active defense on the client side. What's pillar 5?
Pillar 5 is all about zero-day readiness. We talked about patch latency being deadly. This is the countermeasure.
So getting patches out faster.
Yes, but it's more than just pushing updates. You simply cannot afford that latency anymore. This means having automated policies in place that can force the browser to relaunch to apply a critical update.
Ah, not just relying on the user to close and reopen.
Correct. And validating version baselines across your slate almost immediately after an emergency advisory, like one from Google or Microsoft, drops. It's proactive enforcement, not passive reliance.
Okay, proactive patching. And the last one, pillar 6.
Pillar 6, user and developer awareness. This one's crucial but sometimes overlooked.
Training, basically.
Yes, but targeted training. We often train end users on phishing, which is good, but we frequently overlook developers.
Why developers specifically?
Because they are prime high-value targets. They have access keys, credentials, permissions that attackers desperately want. Training needs to focus specifically on the kinds of sophisticated phishing attacks targeting developers, and crucially, how to spot those deceptive, malicious OAuth consent prompts. This app wants access to pop-ups.
Right.
That's the exact technique, the tradecraft, used in most of those large-scale extension compromises we talked about earlier. Developers need to be hyper-aware of what permissions they're granting.
Okay, those are the 6 pillars: extension governance, session hardening, OAuth hygiene, client-side defense, zero-day readiness, and user-developer awareness. That's a comprehensive list. But implementing all 6 simultaneously, that sounds complex, especially for big companies, maybe running multiple browsers, dealing with compliance like, say, HIPAA.
It can definitely feel daunting, and that's where operationalizing this becomes key. You need the right tools and approach.
Which brings us naturally to our work here at Spin.AI. We spend our time building solutions designed specifically to address this checklist, to provide that comprehensive control plane for EBS.
That's right. Our latest major release, Spin.CRX, was purpose-built exactly for this. It's designed to deliver that control plane and help organizations implement those 6 pillars effectively at enterprise scale.
So how does Spin.CRX actually help operationalize, say, Pillar 1, extension governance?
Well, first, it provides that unified visibility across all the major browsers: Chrome, Edge, Safari, Firefox, you name it. And crucially, it covers both corporate and personal profiles, which is often a huge blind spot.
So you get that instant, complete inventory you need as a foundation.
Exactly. And then there's a speed aspect. You mentioned 94 billion stolen cookies earlier.
Yeah, you can't manually review thousands of extensions.
You absolutely can't. So Spin.AI, we've built and maintain a catalog assessing over 400,000 apps and extensions. This means security teams using our platform, Spin.CRX, can assess the risk across their entire extension landscape in literally minutes, not weeks or months.
That dramatically shrinks that risk exposure window we talked about.
Hugely. And that speed enables the automated enforcement needed for these pillars. We're talking real-time risk scoring as new extensions pop up, policy-based controls to automatically block or allow, the ability to force uninstall or quarantine risky apps.
All automated.
Automated and managed from a single dashboard with 247 monitoring. That automation is critical for handling the modern web. Risks those malicious extensions, the rise of shadow AI tools people are using, phishing attempts, ATO prevention, preventing data leaks.
And doing all that without completely crippling productivity for employees.
That's the balance. Secure the browser, but let people get their work done. Spin.CRX handles malicious extensions, shadow IT discovery, phishing, ATO protection, shadow sauce discovery, and data leak prevention, all while aiming to preserve that productivity.
And it's important to note, SpinCRX isn't just a standalone thing. It's delivered as part of the broader Spin.One SaaS security platform.
That's correct. That integration is key. It means you get integrated response capabilities, you can correlate browser risks with other SaaS security events. It gives you that comprehensive posture management that extends beyond just the browser to cover the entire SaaS ecosystem, which is vital given that OAuth sprawl issue.
So, tying it all together then.
I think the core thesis we've laid out today is pretty clear. Attackers have successfully found the path of least resistance. They've shifted their focus almost entirely to the browser layer. That's where they can achieve silent account takeovers, steal credentials, and exfiltrate data effectively.
So, enterprise browser security.
It isn't some future prediction or nice to have. It is the essential defense layer you need today to match the speed, the sophistication, the reality of the current threat landscape.
So, maybe a final thought for you, the listener, to take away from this deep dive. Don't just focus your security lens on the corporate managed devices and the official company assets you already know about.
Yeah, you have to look deeper.
Think about the massive, often completely untapped risk sitting inside your employees' personal browser profiles when they're used for work. Think about all those forgotten OAuth grants you clicked allow on months, maybe years ago.
Those unmonitored blind spots.
That's the silent fuel for this whole account takeover economy we're seeing explode. That's exactly where attackers are focusing their energy right now.
The time for waiting, for assuming old defenses are enough, that time is over. Security now absolutely has to live exactly where the work lives, and that's in the browser.
Thank you for listening. Stay safe.